What she has done here is absolutely, without a doubt, diabolical and disgusting.
Gary and Tony and a few other big names in this business get naive young entrepreneurs to drop hundreds of dollars on these events, which turn out to be a trap.
Scammer, a liar.
They claim that his story about living as a monk for 3 years is a huge misrepresentation of the truth.
An alleged liar and plagiarizer.
If you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, you haven't grown an ounce.
I apologize for suggesting anything other than my profound admiration for the hashtag Me Too movement.
I fucked up because I lied and I misled a lot.
Talk about freaking gaslighting.
Shetty is bullish.
He is the furthest thing from a monk today.
Isn't it absolutely amazing? If you want to lose weight or find a partner or earn your first $1 million before you're 30 or get promoted at work or make some friends and gain respect, then you are now, in 2025, just a few clicks away from finding exactly the right person, podcast, book, program, course that you need to be able to achieve your dreams and goals. But what if I told you that this cycle of endlessly consuming content may not actually be helping you? And that's at its best. In fact, at its worst, it may be harming you, hindering you in your actual progress. When I say that this video could save you hundreds of hours and hundreds, if not thousands of pounds or dollars, I really do mean that, and I'm speaking from my own experience. So there is a term for this endlessly consuming content with the idea that eventually once you've reached a certain level of exposure or if you've come across exactly the right idea at the right time, you will do something about it. The term is action faking. I want to give you a really tangible example. So when I started thinking about doing YouTube, I spent a long time researching lighting and sound and angles and scripts and watching so many creators. I realized that in terms of that dream, I was action faking for a very long time. I'm talking like years. And instead of actually putting things into practice, I would just buy another camera lens or buy a nicer microphone with the intent that one day that would make a difference. But the day that everything really changed was when I just decided to do something. I didn't have to wait for the right person to say, this is exactly what you need, John, to get on with your YouTube journey. I didn't need the right book in my hand. I didn't need to listen to the right episode of the podcast. It was just me finally deciding to take initiative and do the thing that I've been putting off. And it actually came from conversations with friends and peers. And the key part of that journey was accepting that it wasn't going to be perfect and that I didn't need to do things in the same way that other people did in their YouTube journey. And there's a video that I did kind of on this idea that you may want to check out. So I've talked about how action faking is a big issue within the self-help industry. But the other issue is that we've created these standards amongst ourselves of perfection, and the aspirations and dreams that we have are completely ludicrous for most people. I know that my aspirations are, for example, never to get up at 4 a.m. and do a cold plunge before I read my first email. I mean, if I'm getting up at 4 a.m. it's to get on a flight. There is no other reason. And when I was thinking about my YouTube journey, I do not aspire to be like Mr. Beast, to have billions of views every single week and to be absolutely world famous. That is not why I'm doing it. And understanding that was a key part in my journey. When it comes to your own self-improvement, self-help journey, you need to interrogate, what are your goals? If it's to be like Stephen Bartlett or how Jay Shetty presents himself, or in the case of, Janelle Rona, who's losing loads of weight, but actually we find out she's a bit of a scam artist. Or with Belle Gibson, she's saying if you eat like this, you won't get cancer or you'll be cured from it. But actually she never had cancer in the first place. You can start to see that these goals are not healthy because actually in a lot of cases, they are impossible. They are not just aspirational and for everyone. They are something out of reach. And the reason they are out of reach, perhaps, is if you were to ever reach these goals, then the business model of many of these people would fall apart. They need you to not just need the 5 steps to happiness. They need you to buy the book with the 6th secret step that's coming next year. So for me, my goal with YouTube is for it to be my full-time job at some stage and to do content that I actually enjoy making. Now, those are difficult goals. They require a lot of self-discipline and a lot of hard work, but they are achievable. They are reasonable. And so I think that that's something that you really need to interrogate about yourself. So I was reading through the self-help page on Reddit the other day, and so many questions are like, what do I need to do to be this? What do I need to do to be less this? What do I need to do to be more like this? These questions carry 2 really quite dangerous assumptions. 1, that someone else out there has the answer for you, and 2, that you need to be any particular way in the first place. To be worthy of a good life, to be able to access happiness and joy and all of the good things that life can give us, you're already there. As you are is perfectly okay. So that's why I'm saying the self-help industry exploits these weaknesses and looks at these questions and thinks, how can I create and market a value proposition to answer that question? Rather than saying the question itself is flawed. And then in some cases, they'll take ancient wisdom and just repackage it back to you. I think the most obvious example of this in recent times is this concept of mindfulness, which I've engaged in, which is just a rebadging, really, a secularization of Buddhist practices. Not to say it doesn't work, not to say it's not fantastic, but it's about understanding, like, where are you getting these ideas from? Is this person who's telling you that they're a mindfulness guru actually someone that knows more than you or knows something that you can't access right now on your own? So let's come to the worst part. Not only are these influencers and gurus selling you dreams that are impossible, if not really unobtainable, in the sense that they need you to keep buying their next product, and they're doing it through the repackaging of ancient wisdom that's already available to you, and they're preying on your vulnerability and your non-acceptance of your absolute self as being perfectly okay as you are. They're also not living the lives that they say that they are, whether that's from the exaggerated claims of monkishness from Jay Shetty, or Belle Gibson pretending she didn't have cancer, or Janelle Rona's Ozempic taking. Like, all of these are examples of why we need to interrogate the integrity of all of these thinkers, because if they're selling you a product that already is a bit iffy, you then scratch under the surface and see they're not even living those lives, then really that should shatter the whole illusion for you. So it comes down to two things, and a secret third thing that I'm not going to charge you any extra for. First thing is accepting your imperfection. You are okay as you are and deserving of a happy life. End of, no discussion. Now, you don't believe that. That's something that you need to work on in the initial. And no content creator, no influencer, no one will be able to do that for you. It is a process. It's something I've had to do for myself. It's possible. And I'm not going to tell you that there's one way to do it, but there is something that could help that I'll come to in a second. The second one is, whatever you decide to do it now. Don't wait around for the next hit of dopamine or the next meme that you repost or the next video that you watch from your favorite influencer. Start thinking practically, what do I do actually now in my life to practically make a change? And thirdly, the secret sauce. Well, you don't know what to do? Look around for people that you admire, people in your actual life who've turned things around or seem to have the right habits in place or look after themselves in terms of their mental or physical health, and have a conversation with them. Let them know that, I admire what you do and I'd really like to sort of learn from you, or just secretly and subtly in the background sort of understand the patterns of their lifestyle and maybe try some of that for yourself with a pinch of salt, because not what everyone does will work for you. That's really important. Now, in a more formal sense, the way that I find that this works is through something called peer support, which is by sharing how you feel with people in your life in a non-judgmental way, not asking for advice, and hearing back their own reflections and experiences. What you'll find very often is that their experiences will trigger something in you. And because they're not some mystical, magical influencer that's living in millionaire land, it will make more sense to you what they're going through. So I hope that some of this, those lessons around vulnerability and action faking, are helpful to you. But if they're not, it's okay. You don't need to listen to me. What do I know? I'm just some guy on the internet. And it's okay to accept that as well. In the next video that I do, I'm going to explore that concept of peer support a little bit more. So that's the next video coming up. But for today, thanks for being a cutie and being with us on The Right Angle. See you next time.